Okay, I think we are ready here to go. How is everybody doing today? It's a exciting day. This is the last or second last day. We're in the last 30 hours of my Spaceships Kickstarter, and so to kind of celebrate that, I wanted to do the last or the my top 10 favorite spaceships, sci-fi spaceships. And so that's what I want to go through here today and just kind of hang out with you all. If we get to some art making, we'll do that today. But this might just be a just chatting session. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. First things first, I want to show something incredible. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's his name, Michael. We're going to get to the spaceships, top 10 space. And I love what you guys are saying. There's definitely some overlap. Looking in the chat, there's definitely some overlap with your top 10 spaceships and my top 10 spaceships. There's a few there that I'm not seeing. And let me just say, it's so hard not to do, all 10 could be Star Wars ships. But I tried to keep some of the Star Wars ships off of there just so that we can give other spaceships, a shot at being at this top 10 list. Before we get into that, I want to show you something really cool. There's a guy named, what's his name? He is Andrew McCarthy. Okay. So I'm just going to bring it over here into the tab here. Andrew McCarthy. And let's switch to browser time. So this guy is a astrologist. Is that what it is? He's a full-time astrophotographer. That's what he is. So he's not any, I guess he's professional astrophotographer. I don't know what he does for, as far as his educational background, but I follow him on Twitter, and he posted this shot of the moon that he took last night. Let's just find him on Twitter really. Well, I download it. You can download it, and I'm going to open it up here in Photoshop because I wanted you guys to see this amazing shot. Okay, so this is the photo that he took, and you can see right here, this is 5%. Look at the resolution. He lives like an hour from my house. So this was the moon, and he took it last night. This is the moon I saw last night as well, although I did not see it in this resolution. But look at this. We're at 16%. Let's get it even closer. Look at this is the moon, guys. This is rotating around our planet every day. And if you haven't ever seen it in a telescope or in a pair of binoculars, just a pair of binoculars, it's life-changing. It honestly is one of the most incredible things to see. And I remember the first time I saw the moon through a telescope, and I was just like, all of a sudden, the moon became less of it became real. It was less like a prop and more like an actual place that you could visit. So now we're at 100% resolution here. Look at that detail that he's getting. It's just incredible. This guy's such a good astrophotographer. The way that he does this is the moon doesn't sit still. That you notice when you see it at the early evening, it's low in the sky. If it's a full moon, it's low in the sky. And then, you go out in the middle of the night, it's up high. It's moving, right? And if you're looking at it on a telescope, if you're at this resolution looking at a telescope, the thing's just like, it's moving like that fast, right? So in order for him to get this kind of shot, you have to have a telescope that's like chasing it, that's sort of like following it, tracking it. But then it's also taking thousands of pictures, and then he'll composite them all into one picture. I just thought this is super cool. If you go on his Instagram account, he shows you where the Apollo landing sites are: 11, 12, not 13. You know what happened to 13, but 14, 15, 16, and 17. And they're all somewhere around here. I don't have them memorized where they are, but I would check out his Instagram, which is Cosmic Background, I think, is what his Instagram account is. Anyways, super cool. I just wanted to share that with you guys before we get. This is like something that really just inspired me today. I wanted to inspire you guys too. Take a look at the comments here. We got people giving their top 10 spaceships. Robert Cavana says, to be honest, I've always been partial to B-Wings. They're weird, and I like that. I like B-Wings too. I like them a lot. When I first saw them in my Art of Return of the Jedi book, did I get that book before I saw the movie? I think I saw the movie first, but, you know, so Star Wars Return of the Jedi was the first Star Wars I saw in the theater. I was 6 years old. It was 1983. And back, you guys, older folks here, you know that when you see a movie in the 80s, that's all you got to see of it, like, unless you went back to the theater. And then, I guess 1985-ish, I'd say, we got a VHS player. And so we could get the videos, but then you'd have to, like, you know, nobody could afford a VHS tape because they were like $100. And $100 in 1980 is like the equivalent of, I want to say it's like $250 today, right? Can you imagine paying $250 for a movie to own? And so that's how rental shops came about. And so you could go to the video rental place. The place we always went to was Fry's, which was a grocery store chain, and they had a video section at the grocery store. And then a place called Video Update opened up in the same shopping center. And so before they started making like VHS tapes for the masses, you could only rent them, and then you rent them for like $5 or something like that. So you couldn't watch these shows like all the time over and over again until like the 90s. It's when I would say when VHS really, you know, early 90s, late 80s. Anyways, so where was I going with that? I remember seeing all the ships in Return of the Jedi, but not memorizing what these ships were. Because I don't remember seeing a B-Wing in Empire. I hadn't seen Empire Strikes Back. So it wasn't until I got the Art of book. And actually, I still have it. My dad got it from a used bookstore. And I still have it. One second. This book is, we're going to switch over to this camera. So this book, the binding is all messed up. Like it doesn't, you know, the book's just torn to pieces. Because I looked at this thing over and over and over again. And let me switch my camera here so we can see this better. Okay, and so, and it's not even in the right order. You can see here I have the pages on top are the ones I refer to most often, which is the TIE Fighter, the interior, this is a painting. Interior of the Death Star. Let me move my camera or my mic closer so you can hear me better. These are Joe Johnston drawings. Here, oh, look at this. Look at this. This is an initial early design for a B-Wing right there. How cool is that? It's got the A-Wing here. This is a model based on this Ralph McQuarrie painting, which is really cool. Here's another early Joe Johnston drawing of an A-Wing. Got pilots. Anyways, this is my book, and then you can see here I'm going to see if I could find the B-Wing in here. It's somewhere in the back. I know. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. So this composite image was based on this Ralph McQuarrie painting. Yeah, and it wasn't until I got this art book that I really appreciated the B-Wing. But it never clicked with me. I always thought, oh, that's cool. It's really cool. But it wasn't the ship I wanted to like get in and fly around, not like an X-Wing or a TIE fighter or something. There's a nice big model of that. Anyway, this was my art book. I had like 2 or 3 art books as a little kid in the 80s, and I just loved this thing to death, right? Still have it. I think I've gotten a newer version of this that is bound correctly with like extra art in it. But yeah, this is very influential in my upbringing and the reason we're doing this spaceship book that I'm doing it. Let's check the comments here really quick. Get through here. You guys liking the moon images? It's such a good shot. Benjamin Twombly says, I didn't think we would get it, but we got the calendar for the Kickstarter. That's right. Let me go back to the Kickstarter here. There we are. So the Kickstarter, the goal was to get 1,400 backers, and there we would be able to unlock the calendar, which, let me scroll down here really quick. Scrolling down, so much stinking images. There it is. So this calendar, it's just a reversible calendar. It's the first 6 months on one side. This looks good. It's just a cool thing to like look at. And it's very useful because it beats like pulling up the calendar app on your phone or trying to find it on your on your website, or not, on your computer, whatever. So yeah, if you haven't backed the Kickstarter yet, it is ending tomorrow. So this is like your last chance to get, what you're going to get is these add-ons here. The I Love Spaceships bookmarks, the sticker, the calendar. Those come with all the physical orders. And we sold out all the artwork, and also have some other add-ons here too. These prints, which are exclusive to the Kickstarter. These are the vellum cutaway prints, which are super cool. And then, you can get a sticker set, bookmark set, all that stuff. Let's see. Akiart says, I'm not a spaceship nerd. And the $25 book pledge tier ends up being New Zealand $93. So I've been holding off until now, but I do love Jake Parker. I do love Cutaway illustrations. I know. I'm so sorry for people who live outside the United States, because shipping is, you know what? Amazon like absolutely destroyed people's perceptions as far as what shipping actually costs, right? It's done it for me too. You pay for Amazon Prime and you don't even factor in shipping. It's not even a part of it, because Amazon they actually have a fleet of trucks. And the UPS or the USPS, the government subsidizes that. So, it should cost more of what a UPS or a FedEx package costs. So it's cheaper, but it's still just exorbitant. I'm sorry for that. If I was a better businessman or something, I'd probably figure out a way to ship books around the world much cheaper. But I am not that. I am primarily an artist who likes to make books. I'm reading a lot of your favorite ships here. Austin Shirtlift says, I wish I could have experienced the original films in theaters like that. It was something else. It really was. That's why I still like going to theaters, because It's just an experience you don't get in your home. It's way more convenient to watch a movie in your home. It's more comfortable. It's easier. But I love getting out of the house, going somewhere, seeing it on a massive screen with the surround sound and with an audience, with another people. And it's, what's his name? Christopher Nolan says that going to the movie is like sharing a dream with someone. Going to the theater, it's a shared dream experience. And everybody, once those lights go down and once the screen starts flickering and the logo comes up and the music starts, it's like, it's a way to hypnotize people into this, like, kind of like this dream state. And that's what his whole movie Inception was about. It was like an allegory for movie making and the film watching experience, shared dreams. And you have the key players in the heist. You have the architect and you have I forget all the names, but you have all these key players that make things. Those are all have a film component, like a filmmaker component, counterpart to them as well, which is why it's such a cool movie. Kyle Cause says, "Hey Jake, your challenges inspired me to make my own challenge over the summer. The Sequential Summer Challenge, where I make a mini comic every week of my summer vacation. Thank you for inspiring me." That's a good idea, especially if you got extra time on your hands, and it's like a good set couple of months to work on it. That's cool. I hope you're making some cool stuff. Mark says movie theaters or going to the movies back in the 80s is back when the previews didn't really tell you much. It was awesome. Yeah. You look at those old trailers for movies and it's like, it just gives you a feeling. That's what the Avatar trailer for Avatar 2 is like to me, is it's this, I have no idea what that movie's going to be about. I just know it's going to have that cool stuff in it, right? So it's good. The space FedEx for all your delivery needs, free shipping for everyone. I need to come up with a space FedEx. Tiger Shark Studio says that he has to sell his book as a PDF only because printing costs are just too high here in Canada. That's why I always offer a PDF for everything, because like if you can't afford the shipping, at least get a PDF. And I do it all the time. I have a folder full of comics and art books that I have PDFs of. Mark Vanderbook says, "I saw Star Wars in 1977 when I was 5, changed my life." LOL. Yeah, like how much life does a 5-year-old need to change at that point, right? Oh, man. Robert Cavana, I'm so stoked to have this book in my hands. Thank you. I can't wait to get it out to you guys. Noah says, "Will you be getting the new Lego Galaxy Explorer? Talk about an awesome ship design." Yes, that is on my list. It's a little pricey. Well, the castle's what's pricey. The castle's on my mind too. Lego, what's it called? The Lego Explorer set. If you don't know what he's talking about, it's this right here. They took the old classic original spaceship from Lego, and they revamped it with new pieces and modern sensibilities. So that's exciting. That should be on my top 10 list. I forgot that. We'll make that an honorable mention. Should we get to the top 10 list here? My top 10? Let's do it. All right. Let me switch over to Cintiq. Zoom out to this moon. And I'm going to pull it down here. All right, we're going to go through here like this, do our top 10. Let's do it. Okay, so We'll go 10-1, and then we'll do our honorable mentions after that. And just to be clear, you guys want to know the criteria. The criteria for these is, did I delete it? I'd written it down really quick. Let me pull that up so I can read it to you guys, my criteria here. Okay, so here's the criteria, and I'm going to add a fourth one to it as well. I'll just say we'll just start with the fourth one and work our way down. This is for, we'll say smaller craft, so no capital-sized ships like Star Destroyers and the USS Enterprise. So none of that. I'm thinking like Millennium Falcon class and smaller. Okay, so number one, aesthetics. Is the design visually appealing? Okay, is the design visually appealing? Not appearing, visually appealing. So does it look good? Is it a cool looking ship? Number two, functionality. Is the design mechanically sound or does it look mechanically sound? So sometimes it's a cool design spaceship, but I'm like, that would never work, or that looks too flimsy, or it has stuff on it that just doesn't make sense, right? Sometimes, wings might be on there and it's like, why is it a spaceship? Why does it need wings if it's a spaceship? I don't know. So that, and then third one, this is important, is cultural significance. Has the design influenced not mech designs, it should be spaceship. Has the design influenced other spaceship designs or pop culture to a significant degree? Or is the design the pinnacle of other spaceship designs before it? Okay, so these are the criteria that I'm looking at, that I'm thinking about as I'm doing these. Okay. I'm just reading some of these. In one of the drawings books, I remember Jake did a fun series of Star Wars ship vehicles, living creatures. That's right. That was one of those, just came out of nowhere. We're always turning creatures into machines, whether it's anthropomorphic robots that look humanized. And I thought, what if we flip it the other way? What if we took these iconic machines like spaceships and turn them into monsters? We'll have to bring those up later. But let's get to the top 10 list here. Okay. Coming in at number 10 is, hold on, I want to make sure I got my stupid. Okay, coming in number 10, Millennium Falcon. It's the Millennium Falcon. Culturally significant, absolutely. This is a spaceship that defies description, right? Like when this came out, there was nothing like it, and anything that tries to look like it or is influenced is automatically a ripoff of the Millennium Falcon. So it's one of these ships that I think it looks pretty. The asymmetricalness of it is really nice. The technicality, like all the little technical bits, are just just have a nice aesthetic to it. Influential, you can't do anything close to this without somebody saying, "Oh, that's a Millennium Falcon ripoff." So, why is it not higher up? That's the question. Honestly, I think what holds this back is it is that element of how how can it influence a culture without being derivative? How can things be influenced without being derivative of it? So I put it at 10 because it's too iconic. But it's still in the top 10, okay? Also, I think part of me was like, they're going to expect this to be in the top 4 at least. So I've got to put it. I got to surprise you guys. Also, what's cool is, and this is just what was kind of revolutionary for Star Wars. What Star Wars did was everything looks lived in. Mark says, yeah, it's the used, lived in industrial look that really makes it for me. Sean Turek asked, would the spinner from Blade Runner count as a ship? Maybe not, since it's basically a car. So I would classify that as a vehicle. Ships are vehicles. So let me say this. All ships are vehicles, but not all vehicles are spaceships, right? So I would put the spinner, as like a flying car. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. Number 9. Also, let's just look at this really quick. This is the Cutaway from the original Star Wars Cutaway book. I can't tell you how often I've looked at this, how much I've analyzed and looked at this thing. It's just so perfect. What's cool is comparing this Cutaway to the Force Awakens Cutaway, how they're different and how they're similar. They got rid of these weird pill things, and there's like more room back here for like Princess Leia. I think Han Solo made Princess Leia like her own bedroom or something back there. Anyway, okay, number 9 is the swordfish from, that's a bad picture of it. There we go. Number 9 is the swordfish from Cowboy Bebop. And Cowboy Bebop came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. I can't remember. Was it early 2000s? I don't know off the top of my head. But what I love about it is it's just the red color, right? Like that bright red. You can't make a red pointy spaceship without somebody saying, oh, hey, it's a swordfish. I don't know if you guys ever done that. If you've ever done any sort of swordfish, or I mean, any sort of spaceship art and had it be red, you're going to get people saying, oh, it's like the swordfish, even if it doesn't have, the side wings or a big cannon underneath or something like that. This just looks, it's just really, there's some unconventionality to it, but I love this like combination of shapes, like this sort of T cross shape got going on here, and how you've got like the bubble cockpit, and then even how the wings fold up for compactness, so it gets points for being technically like sound. So there's that. That's number 9. Okay, coming in at number 8, the Gunstar. This is the Gunstar from Last Starfighter. Okay. I remember seeing Last Starfighter in the movie theater and just being blown away by computer, we called it computer graphics back then, right? So I guess CG, right? And the Gunstar was just like this. I just remember like the cutting to the Gunstar sitting on its like, nose up, getting ready to launch. And just thinking like that is a killer spaceship. What's cool about it is it's got these like massive engines. It's got that killer like cockpit thing that he can like spin around in, which I'd never seen before. Just a nice, solid, like iconic design. And I love somewhat of the 80s wonkiness to it. Like, I feel like if you were to design something Gunstar-y today, you would streamline things a little bit. You probably wouldn't make these things as big as bulky as they are, but because they designed it, I think on paper, maybe with some like kit bashing and then built it CG, you just got some weird proportions to it that you wouldn't normally get when you're like able to, adjust things so easily digitally. So the Gunstar, that's my number 8. Yeah, the Death Blossom feature. That's another amazing thing. That's where it just kind of did that spinning thing and shot lasers everywhere. Super cool. Super cool. Okay, what do you think number 7 is? Does anybody know? Anybody guess what number 7 is going to be? What do we got? Okay, number 7, the Milano from Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if you guys saw this coming. I didn't see it in anybody's in any of the chat thus far, and I put it in here because I didn't want to neglect the last 10 years of spaceship design, because I think we've got some really good concept artists who are building off of, standing on the shoulders of our previous, the giants of concept design, the Doug Changs and the Ralph McQuarries and the Joe Johnstons and this ship just has like a really cool kind of vibe to it, right? It's got a great silhouette. And that's really key when you're designing a spaceship. Does it look good from top? Does it look good from the front? Does it look good from all the different angles you're going to see it at? So it feels like a hawk, honestly, like a hawk in spaceship form. I love the colors too, like the blue and orange. Those are actually my high school colors for my high school. We were the Westwood Warriors, and we're blue and orange. So anytime I say blue and orange, it makes me a little bit nostalgic. But yeah, look at this. Like, top view, side view, just any way you look at it, back view here, it's got a nice feeling to it. I love these, like, how these wings all like move on their own, almost like hawk feathers. So that is number, what are we at? Number 7, the Milano. So here's the original concept art for it, I think. Or this is fan art. I don't know. I just pulled these off of Google Images. Did anybody see that coming? Anybody see the Milano on this list? It would be cool if they did a Cutaway. They should do a Marvel Cutaway book of all the different, if they haven't already. I haven't seen it. Mark says, my only critique about the Milano is the interior scenes always make it feel larger than it looks from the outside. It does have a lot of space in the inside. It's almost like a motorhome, like bigger than like 2 motorhomes side to side. But Noah brings up a good point. I think the Milano does a really good job of evoking a hawk without putting goofy hawk features on it. All right. So number 6, you ready for this? It's the Ranger from Interstellar. And I remember seeing this, seeing the trailer for Interstellar and catching a glimpse of the Ranger and just being like, that is a uniquely cool design. This design owes more to like 80s NASA. It's sort of like NASA punk is what I would call it. This is NASA punk. So it really owes itself to, the shuttle and kind of that 80s NASA aesthetic combined with what you'd see in more contemporary like spaceship design. So here's the actual prop from set. I love that. I love that in Nolan's movies he does as much practical effects as possible. It's got that cool feature where like the nose tilts down and these things tilt up, so I guess it gets more atmospheric maneuverability or something. I love all the windows that it's got going on and how they're like wedged in between like support struts. It's got all the little openings for the maneuverability of the what are they called? The gas maneuverers. What are those things called? The things that shoot out the gas so it can maneuver in space. And it looks cool. And the other thing that was cool about this was how they shot it where they like would put attach a camera to the side of it. So a lot of the reason it looks so realistic is a lot of those shots were done in a way that if it was really done practically, right? Like you wouldn't have a drone just hovering watching a spaceship. You'd have to like clamp cameras on the side of it and whatnot. So cool silhouettes. It's got these engines on the back, got the little hatch coming out the back. So I want to know, did anybody see that coming in at number 6? Inertia jets, is that what they're called? Maneuvering thrusters. I like that. The RTS system. Yeah. So how does this have cultural impact is the question. That's a good question. It's hard to, I guess in my criteria, right? You're going to want to try and get all 3. And if not, 2 out of 3. Has this had a huge cultural impact? I want to say it's still early. Like this movie came out in like 7 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, 7 years ago. So its impact is still yet to be seen. But if you go on ArtStation and you look up spaceships and you look at any of the newer like video games coming out, you're seeing a lot more spaceships that are relying on this sort of aesthetic. Not that they look like this ship, but that, let's pull from actual space technology that we have now or that we've had in the past to inform our design decisions. So in that way, I see it being culturally significant. All right. Number 5 is the Novacore starships. I don't know what they're actually called. But these things, I want to just give props again to like our more contemporary starship designers. These things are, when I saw these in, again, Guardian of the Galaxy, I was just like, wow, they're like 2 for 2. They've got the Milano or those, that class of spaceship. And then when these showed up on the screen, I was like, that is such a cool design. And I want to say, it almost feels like these were based off of, I've seen this kind of stuff done in Lego. So I want to say like these artists were like inspired by Lego designers. But it's got a really iconic, cool shape. It's a star. It's one of those things where I'm like, dang it, I wish I had thought of that. And then the effect that it has where these things can all like latch together and make a shield is such a cool idea. Hadn't seen that before. So yeah, these Novacore starships, like police ships, I guess. I don't know. I should have learned what the name was. But I put these, they got a great color too, the blue and gold. Just very, very iconic and neat looking. So yeah, hopefully there's some surprises here. Yeah, also the same shape as the logo. Now I'm upsetting some people. I'm upsetting some people with this, and hopefully that's okay. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too mad. Yeah. And it is sus that I put the Novacore above the Millennium Falcon. Let's be honest, Falcon is a better design than this, but part of this is it was sort of my gut feeling when I was putting the list together. And this isn't final. It shifts with time. Luckily we're not making life-changing decisions here with this top 10 list. All right, number 4, the X-Wing. There's the back view. And I chose the T-70 as opposed to the T-65, which is the one we see in the original trilogy. The reason I picked this one is I like the proportions better. We would not have this without the original X-Wing. So essentially, for number 4, it's the X-Wing. But if we're going to choose a model of X-Wing, I prefer this one because I think the scissor wings is a much more unique design than just wings that clap close. And these engines are actually based on an early Ralph McQuarrie design for the X-Wing. So there's some history there. It's not the one we saw in the original trilogy, but it is based on an original Ralph McQuarrie design. From the scissor wing design, I think it just has a better silhouette when you see it from different angles. It's a sleeker looking ship. I compare this if the T-65 is like a F-14. I would say the T-70 is more like an F-18. A little bit sleeker, a little bit pointier, a little bit more maneuverable, just an upgrade. And F-14s have their place, and I love the F-14. But there is something really formidable about the F-18. And so I apply that to this X-Wing T-70. Okay? I'm sure that comes as no shock. Benjamin says the half-circle engines are a little weird. It's a little weird. And if you think of it as these aren't like a jet engine, but these are just intake scoops, then it makes more sense. Robert says he has 4 of these right next to him in his office. So we got another X-Wing fan there. Improving the X-Wing is seemingly impossible, but they did it. That's right. Yeah, and I like this. John McMillan says, I like the split engine design too. Todd says, feels like someone watched The Guardians last week. It's always on my mind. Whether I've watched it or not, it's always on my mind. Mark says, thank you for not talking about the X-Wing abomination from Star Wars Resistance. Those ships were fine. They didn't stir the soul, but I don't have too many qualms with them. They're just not super memorable, right? I don't want to, all the designers at Lucasfilm are doing, they're top tier designers. They're all doing great work. So I don't want to bag on that, but you do what you can with what you've got. So, okay, let's get back to our list. Number 3, Slave 1. There's the back view of it. Let's do this one. There we go. There's iconic. Slave 1, which I don't think you're allowed to say on Star Wars anymore. It's like one of those unfortunate names that worked for Star Wars at the time, but you'll notice Boba Fett never calls it that in the Boba Fett show. So they might, I don't know, they should rename it. I don't know. but the name is probably the worst part of this ship. What's awesome about this ship is it basically taught ship designers, sci-fi ship designers, to really think out of the box. If you thought the Millennium Falcon was outside of the box, this design essentially said, hey, it's space, so it doesn't matter what's up or what's down or how this thing needs to land or fly. The more interesting you can make it, the better. And that's why I love this ship. It just has a cool kind of functionality to it. It looks great when it's landed like that. It looks great when it's flying like that. It's cool, like cut apart. And where else? It looks great from the back view too. All the little greebliness there as well. Apparently this was a ship that was based off of like a lamp. I think the story goes that it was inspired by seeing a lamp, a street light, like the lamp part on a street light, and thought, well, what if we turn that into a spaceship? Robert says it makes me think of a clunky hairdryer. Yeah. They should make. I'm surprised they haven't made Slave One hairdryers. Has cool colors too. You know, if you had problems with the last ship, the colors on this one are hard to beat. That like military green with the brownish red. Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 3. Okay, number 2, the Razor Crest. I put this at number 2, and I'm going to be honest. I did not like this when I first saw it. So I heard about the Mandalorian show. I was like, sweet, this is going to be cool. You know, what's a ship going to look like? They revealed it. And it wasn't until I saw it in action, like flying around, like from all 3 directions, where I was like, that is a cool ship. I love that it's, you know, when you think about Star Wars and like the aesthetics that are going on from ship to ship and design, how do you make something? Most things are like futuristic, or they're defying expectations of, or they're conforming to expectations of what futurism would be. How do you make something look like an antique in the Star Wars universe? And they nailed it with this, because this does look like something that came before anything you saw in the original trilogy, anything you saw in the prequels. Apparently this is, at the time of Mandalorian, this is a 200-year-old ship, something like that. And it just has that kind of feel to it, like the big engines that are like too large for this ship, but probably perform at the same ability as like the tiny little engines that you'd see on an X-Wing, you know? So a lot of thought went into it. Looks good from that angle. I love that it's like shiny silver, not like too shiny, but it's more shiny, silvery colored than just painted. Looks great from the back view. This is where it's falling apart from the episode. So big props to the people who designed this new Razor. And then they made an actual practical model for it too, which is amazing. Okay. All right, you guys want to see number 1? Number 1. It's the TIE Interceptor. This is the absolute best spaceship design ever. And I will stand by that. This is the original. This is the shot that they have from the Art of Star Wars book. And it just looks good from any angle. It looks great from back view. It has this nice combination of shapes, shape design, shape language. The TIE Fighter, why not the TIE Fighter? TIE Fighter's fine. But the TIE Fighter always looked to me goofy, just a little goofy. And something about turning its wings into this like kind of enclosed pointy shape just makes it. And I have a Action Fleet TIE Fighter right here. Let's switch to FaceTime. Look at this thing. This, you just hold it like this and try not to pretend to fly it around. You just want to twist it. It just looks maneuverable. I mean, you can hold it at any angle and look at it from any angle, and it looks cool. Looks fascinating. So, design aesthetics, cultural impact, how many kinds of ships have this influenced, that you have some sort of central cockpit with these sides coming out. And then just structurally or technologically, it's got all the bits to it. It makes sense. Noah says, what's always weird to me is how the wings appear to converge from most angles, but from the front, they look like they're just spreading out. Just a trick of the angles, I guess. So yeah, everything looks like it's converging, but then you do this, and it's like, now all of a sudden they're going out. It's a good point. Same weapons configuration as the XWing. That's right. Okay, should we do our honorable mentions? You want to see the honorable mentions? Okay, honorable mention number 6, the A-Wing. Oh, let me switch to let me switch this. Honorable mention number 6 is the A-Wing. I just love this ship design. And to be honest, if this one feels like, to me, it feels like the most practical Star Wars ship. It almost feels like it doesn't belong in Star Wars because it's way too practical. Here's the original Ralph McQuarrie painting of it. I like the blue with the white triangle. If you've been to Disneyland or Disney World, they have one of these, a life-size one of these that you can go get your picture taken with. It's so cool to see it in person. So yeah, it's a cool design, and I do love it. And maybe it should have been in the top 10, but the goal is to I think for me this time was to try and find ships that weren't just Star Wars ships. So yeah, if I could have one of these, I would absolutely have one. Okay, number 5. The Naboo N1 Starfighter. I adore this ship. Ever since I first, saw this thing in the prequels, I was just like, that is such a cool ship. I know it's not for everybody. I have a friend who just hates it. But I love how elegant it is. It looks like a ship that, if Naboo is Italy, and if you think about the cars that they designed in Italy, the Maseratis and the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis, and how beautiful and swooshy they are, and just this devotion to craftsmanship, then this is the type of starship you would expect from a culture like that. If the Italians made a starship, this is what they would make. This is the Ferrari of the Star Wars universe. And then, I could not show Jindarin's, however you say his name, his N1 that he souped up and got in Book of Boba Fett. So this is such a cool design too. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I love it. The Naboo. I don't particularly I'm glad they got rid of that little element. It's good job, George Lucas. telling Doug Chang to dial it back a little bit and get us this. But this, it's just cool. The chrome, the yellow, very minimal paneling happening there. It's really nice. Really nice. It spins. It spins. Spinning's a good trick for those ones. Okay. I wanted to bring up all of the ships from Lightyear as well. These things, what they're doing is, this is actually pretty iconic. The ship that they ended up with in Lightyear, pretty stinking rad. And I think this one is going to be, it's going to be a ship that we come back to and people look at and appreciate in years to come. It's a really cool design. All the ships they kind of went through were good ones. I love this, the XL2 as well. That variant of it, really cool design as well. But I just wanted to include these. If you get the Art of book for Lightyear, you're going to see all these things in there. Some of these are kind of, it's all variation on a theme, right? But I think where they landed on with this design is pretty darn rad. It has components from all my favorite ships kind of combined into one. So really happy with that. No, it says, I heard the creator of these ships purposefully used a yellow windscreen in order to force Lego to make new yellow cockpit pieces. I wouldn't put it past them. The director, Angus MacLean, is like a huge Lego fanatic. I've been following his Lego creations for 12 years, 13 years. I found him on Flickr back in the day. And I always just kind of loved the things that he posted on Flickr. And then one day I was watching Small Fry, I think it was. It was a Pixar short. And I was like, I wonder who directed that, because I always look to see what the credits are. And it said Angus MacLean. I was like, oh, he works at Pixar. I only knew him as a Lego maker, like a Lego guy. And so then to see that he went on to do one of the like Toy Story of Horrors or something like that. He did a couple other shorts, co-directed Finding Dory, and then directed Lightyear. Like Lightyear very much came from a place from that guy's heart, from Angus's heart is where Lightyear came from, and the whole team there. Some people say, criticize it for being a cash grab, like, oh, we got to make another Toy Story movie. That movie would not exist like if it wasn't for Angus MacLean. He pioneered it, or he championed it. Not pioneered it. He championed it. He made sure that happened, all because he loves sci-fi and spaceships and things like that. So props to him. Ironically, I still haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting to finish my Kickstarter before I do anything like for myself. I'm trying to get that book finished. Okay, number 3, honorable mention, the Viper from Battlestar Galactica. Just a cool. It's essentially a X-wing with shorter wings. That's how I look at it, but it's still a neat design. Designed at the same time by the same people who designed the X-wings, right? But it's a cool design. I remember a kid in elementary school could draw this so well, and he just drew them all the time. He'd draw them like really tiny on his papers all over the place, and I was jealous of how well he could draw these things. So that is my number 3 honorable mention. These aren't in any particular order, so I'm not putting these in front of anybody else. I wanted to point out the ship from Halo. I love this design. This thing it's just cool. It's got a nice vibe about it. I want to say it's like if they were to design Last Starfighter today, this is what the gunship would look like. The Gunstar, I think. So it has that feeling to it. But I just like how tight and kind of haunched over, like aggressive it kind of looks. Waiting to pounce. There's a predatorialness to it, which I think is pretty good. So yeah. What is this called? Saber class starfighter? The Saber? I think that's what it was. Yeah. And then this one too. This ship could be in the top 10 just with how influential it's been. It is the alien ship from... Here, let's get a bigger photo. The alien ship from Independence Day. And when I saw this, I'd never seen a spaceship that looked like... so Independence Day came out in like 95, right? Never saw a spaceship that looked like aliens designed it with alien technology, with organic pieces to it. And that's what this looked like. It almost looked like they grew this ship out of the ground and then added their like spaceship components to it. So I always thought that was cool. And you see that in a lot of the bad guy ships in the Marvel universe. They're definitely influenced by, what they're doing here. So there's some influentialness here, but like the overall shape isn't, it's not pretty. I'll say that. It's not pretty. You could do a few more interesting things with it, I think, but there was some new ground they were like covering with this that hadn't been done before, I feel like. So yeah. I always thought that the cockpit was up here, but then, you saw the windows down there. I always thought this thing up here was the cockpit when I initially saw it, but I think that's its like laser gun. Yeah. So it's a cool ship. Yeah, it does look like a trilobite, doesn't it? It does. All right. Should I think we're doing this for about an hour. I want to just show you some of the spreads from the book that I'm working on. So, really quick, just a reminder, what we got going on here is, we're not doing this. Andrew McCarthy, we'll see you later. Thanks for taking good pictures of the moon. Okay, we're at 1,422 backers for the spaceship Kickstarter, and hopefully everybody here has backed it. If you haven't, time is running short. You can see we've got 28 hours to go, and so we're gonna need you to if you're gonna want to get in on some of these exclusive things that we've got going on with the Kickstarter, like this is your chance to do it. Also, these vellum prints with the overlays of the cutaways, really excited to get those things out to you guys in your hands. It's one of those things where I'm like I wish there were other artists doing this, because I think it's just a cool idea to like have that feature to the thing that you're looking at. I love cutaways. I love seeing into things, but then also being able to see the outside to it as well is great. All sold out of all the artwork, so thank you everybody who bought artwork. And then every book is coming with this bookmark, I Love Spaceships, an I Love Spaceships vinyl car sticker, and then a spaceship calendar. So let's come here now and look at some of these ships that I've been making. All right, here we go. Just lining things up here. So you could see here, this is a ship. I actually started out with just an ink drawing. A lot of these I had just ink drawings. For example, like this one. This is from my sketchbook, and I wanted to add color and kind of fix some things about them that I don't think I quite nailed in the ink drawing. So like this is the color version of that ship, and you can see I added a little bit more girth underneath here, gave it a cool paint job. You can see this one here. This is like the original sketch, and then I went in and made it more like an Italian race car. This was fun. Let's see here. Let me pull up another image here. So this one here, let me bring it down here. I had this sketch page, which was just a combination of a bunch of different spaceships, right? And so what I started doing was breaking out these spaceships. I scanned it, I cleaned it up, I broke out these spaceships and made individual colored spaceships for each of them. So let's look at that. So here's one. No, that's not that. Here's one. Nope, that was the one I already showed you. Sorry. Here we go. So there's one of them. Here's one from the background. This yellow ship, I really like the color. This incidentally is like the astrology symbol for Saturn. So I thought that would make a cool logo. Pulled that one out and added like thicker wings on it so I could fit a better logo on it. This one was fun too. Just an opportunity to like have a canvas to do some cool livery on it. What else we got? So this one was one of the Kickstarter rewards. If we go up here, yeah, you could see here this one. It's half covered there, but that one I, wrong image. There we go. That one I scanned in and colored it and kind of added this is a Mayan glyph logo added to it. So this is the kind of spaceships we're going to see in the book. Robert says, man, I wish the galaxy in Jake's head was real. Me too. Me too. I wish you had 3D models of your designs, even printable. That'd be cool too. Yeah. I need to get back on the horse for 3D modeling. A lot of, I've done this kind of stuff before where I'll draw spaceships based on models that I've built. So let's see, there's a couple more here. Let's go to transports and let's see here. Oh yeah, this one was cool. So this was a spaceship I designed back when I was doing Balderbin. If any of you remember Balderbin from back in 2014. So this is a spaceship I designed that I was going to add to that comic, and I'll come back to it. And this is a transport. This front part pops open or opens up, and then it transports cybercorns, which are like these robot unicorns, and it's covered in gold. And the gold it's like this is a Mayan symbol too. I just thought it would be like a cool motif to work with. Like Mayans were obsessed with gold, and I guess what culture wasn't obsessed with gold? They had a lot of it, apparently. And so I just thought it'd be cool. What if the Mayans had spaceships? This one we colored in a previous stream. Some of you were there for that. Got to see that one colored. That's in the book. The book is a mix between very finished, polished-looking spaceships and spaceships that are really sketchy. So I'll have a spaceship like this in there that's really sketchy, and you could see the sketch marks on it and the looseness of the marker to it. And it's just a way to mix up a lot of the designs in the book. Let's look at some of the military ones here. So this is from Missile Mouse, actually. If you guys ever read the Missile Mouse book, what I did was, you could see this too. So this is the Rogue Imperium of Planets. This is their main ship, the main capital ship, the Predator. And I wanted to add that to the book, but this is, the detail on it isn't like matching the rest of these. So I brought it in and did like a nicer glow up of it. So you could see that there. And then I did the same thing with where is it? This ship. Hold on. So this ship right here, this is a RIP, like Rogue Imperium of Planets. This is one of their fighter ships in this scene. And so that's what this is right here. Again, wanted to add way more detail to it than what I was capable of doing 12 years ago when I made this comic. So there's that. What else we got? This one. There's this one, kind of B-Wing inspired. Here's Blazing Bat's ship. Definitely inspired by Evangelion color. Oh, this one, man. I love this. This is probably my favorite ship in the whole book. The Skull Star, or the Star Skull. Can't remember. But this one dates back to Balderbin as well. So, yeah. Mark says, I love how all of your stuff has visual language that works together. These feel like they could easily show up in Skyheart too. John says, I hope to see Lord Balderbin again. So I'm doing the Spaceships book, and then next year I'm going to do Redshift Renegades. Launch a Kickstarter for a print version of that. That's going to be like a 60-page comic, kind of a graphic novella. So I'm going to launch a Kickstarter for that. And then I want to do another book like this spaceship book, which is a combination of a bunch of different designs in a category. I'm not going to say what yet. But then after that, I'm going to do the Balderbin book. So, and Balderbin is in the same universe as the Renegades. Will he meet up with Skull Chaser? Probably not. but he might meet up with some other characters that look familiar. So I drew about half of his story, and then just got busy with other things. Did Skyheart, did freelance work, did a bunch of other stuff, and never got back to it. And that was back in 2014. But now that I've kind of reviving some of the old spaceships I designed for that, I want to do it again. I want to get back into it. Yeah, Robert called it. It's a mech book. It'll be Kepler's Guide to Mechs, or Kepler's Guide to Robots. That's my next one. Can't keep a secret. All right, let's look at haulers. These are fun. So haulers are different from Star Runners. So Star Runners were that first batch that I looked at. A Star Runner is essentially like a very maneuverable. It's a ship that a person lives in, and they run their business out of. So it has living quarters in it, but it also has weapons. Because they need to defend their home, right? But it also has, of course, sublight engines, but also has capabilities to go through jump gates and traverse the galaxy. They're more maneuverable. They're like Star Runners are the type of ship you want if you're a bounty hunter, or if you're running shipments of stuff that are dangerous. It's dangerous in dangerous territory. Haulers, on the other hand, they use established shipping lines. Typically, there's no there's very limited living space in them, if any. But what they're done is they have space inside them to haul stuff, or attachments to haul to have compartments attached onto them to haul stuff. And they have massively oversized engines to move heavy stuff and to get them from point A to point B as fast as possible. So typically you're not going to be sleeping in one of these. You're going to load it up, get in it, haul, load the stuff, haul it to wherever it needs to go, and then spend the night at a space hotel. And that's what a hauler is. And this is sort of the evolution of them. Here's another kind of version of it. Skull Chaser, what he did was he took a hauler and converted it into a Star Runner. So it has weapons. It has, where he normally would be hauling things. This space, he turned it into living quarters. It has an escape pod. It has a place for him to hold his speeder. And so that's why, his ship looks so unconventional compared to other ships. Construction ships. I've got a bunch of these in here in the book. There's a whole section on construction spaceships in the book. Here's a bulldozer. Here's a... This is more of a retriever, so it's a manipulator. So it uses this to grab things and move them around. And then you have a ship like this, which uses these components here to cut things up and carve things and shape things. You have a digger here for digging, digging holes and stuff on lunar surfaces or in asteroids. What else? We've got one of these. This is another manipulator. And a bunch more there. Oh, and these guys here. These are also part of construction. So they just move stuff around. Every construction site's going to have manipulators on it that can grab stuff and move it around and pick things up. And they're kind of like a spaceship robot. And then lastly, the last chapter of the book is going to have unconventional ships. And these are ships that are like the shark the shark ship, where you're not quite sure where to put it. Is it a fighter? Is it a hauler? Is it a, who knows what it is? So there's that. There's this thing. I call it a space camper, but it has this special like material in it that's used for navigating space lanes. What else? You got this guy here. This is like a communications ship that these things will relay messages, almost like a satellite. What else? Flying saucers. Another unconventional ship. And then I had these like these sort of bug ships that are going into that chapter as well. So that's what's in this this book, this Kickstarter that I'm doing. And I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap up this this streaming session today. Let's see. We were at, I forget how many we were at when it started, but we're coming in close on 76,000. So if you want to back, just another plug for this Kickstarter Spaceships book. If you're into spaceships and if you like them, back the project. You're going to get a cool book. You're going to get some cool stuff to go with it. And I think that's it for today. Any other questions or anything? John says, is there a pirate ship in it? No pirate ships, although you could use Star Runners for pirate ships. Robert says, these are an object lesson in the joy of drawing. That's right. All my spaceships are just, well, here, let me show you this really quick. Today's update for this, I call it the spaceship melange. So here's just all the spaceships I've been drawing this month and fixing and cleaning up for this thing. And they're fun to do. It's fun to like make organic shapes look like they were engineered. So that's good. Does Kepler have a personal ship? I haven't thought about Kepler's ship. He just has a shipyard. He kind of stays put and works on other ships. So yeah, here's all the ships together. And this is it's called Spaceship Melange. This is a space-time quantum anomaly that used to happen a lot around supermassive black holes until they invented and started installing on spaceships these gravitational vector alternators. And once ships had those, they could avoid getting mashed together like this. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to go get a snack and then get back to work on drawing and putting together this book. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. It was fun. This was a good one. I'm going to be doing this again tomorrow at 6 p.m. on right here. You can see the link. I sent it out in my last update. I'll have it in my newsletter as well. So if you go to the Friday newsletter here, this is something you should absolutely sign up for if you like what we did today. Just put your name and your email address, and I send an email out each week that is something like this. So usually I just show what I've worked on recently, and then I'm going to show like something cool that I found on the internet, usually some sort of vehicle. This is amazing. There's a website where you can like tour locations, and someone did 3D tour of a submarine. So you can like click through and see through this submarine. You click on any of these spots and see in it. I'm going to highlight artists that I really like. So this is Gabriel Silveria. And then I usually have inspirational thought unit at the end on motivation, and I talk about things that motivate, that not things that motivate, things that inspire or to get you to level up or to do things. So this is my newsletter, and I'm going to have links to these streams in there, or anything that if you just want to stay on top of what's interesting and inspiring me and what I'm working on, definitely join the newsletter. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I'm gonna stop streaming, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 6:00. We're gonna do a wrap up of the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter ends at 8, and so we're gonna do some drawing and some